It was the winter of 2023 in a small town called Edgewood, near the dense forests of the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia. Something happened there that locals still talk about with hushed voices. Jake Thompson, a 29-year-old from Pittsburgh, had just arrived in Edgewood. He was a documentary photographer, always chasing untouched landscapes. The forest surrounding the town, with its towering trees and thick morning fog, felt like a goldmine to him. The locals warned him to steer clear of it. They said strange sounds came from the trees at night. Not animals, not the wind, but heavy footsteps and faint whispers from somewhere deep within. Jake brushed it off as old folklore and said, "I'll go check it out myself." On a chilly January evening, around 7 p.m., Jake set out with his Nikon camera, a flashlight, and a backpack stuffed with batteries and energy bars. Old Man Joe, who ran a coffee stand in town, saw him heading toward the forest along a dirt path. "Don't go in there, kid," Joe said. "That forest ain't right." Jake just smirked and replied, "I'll be back before sunrise, don't worry." Morning came, and Jake didn't return. A heavy snowstorm hit, so no one went looking right away. 2 days later, when the weather cleared, a group of local hunters and a few park rangers ventured into the forest. What they found still haunts the town's gossip circles. They found Jake's backpack near a deep ravine, as if it had been tossed there in a hurry. His camera was still on, battery nearly full. When they checked the photos, the last few frames made their blood run cold. Some showed tall, blurry shadows lurking among the trees, almost like they were following Jake. In one photo, a dark, human-like figure with no face stood right behind him. Worse still was a 20-second video clip the camera had recorded. In it, Jake's voice trembled as he said, "Who's there? Why are you following me? Stop." But the frame was empty. All they could hear were heavy footsteps, like something massive was moving, and a deep, drawn-out breath. The search went on for a week, but there was no trace of Jake. No footprints, no clothing, not even a drop of blood. It was like the forest had swallowed him whole. The rangers said it could have been a bear or a wolf, but there were no signs of an animal attack. One of the hunters who found the backpack later told his buddies he felt something watching him from behind his bedroom window at night. Old Man Joe just shook his head and muttered, "That forest picks its people." Jake shouldn't have gone. It's 2025 now, and no one knows what happened to Jake. His camera sits in the ranger station, gathering dust, but no one dares watch that video again. One thing's for sure, since that winter, nobody in Edgewood goes near the forest after sunset. It was the summer of 2024 in a quiet corner of Tennessee, near an old dirt road called Route 44, notorious among the folks of the small town of Wilson. Not for its views, but because those who drove it at night were never quite the same. Stories swirled about the road. The sound of an old payphone ringing despite being disconnected for years, or shadows appearing inside mirrors only to vanish. Locals said Route 44 was somehow alive, as if its past was still breathing. Sarah Klein, a 32-year-old truck driver from Nashville, hauled freight across state lines. New to her company, she got stuck with the tougher routes. One muggy August night, after a pickup at a warehouse in Wilson, her GPS suggested Route 44 to shave half an hour off her trip to the highway. Unaware of the local tales, Sarah thought it was a solid shortcut. It was past 11 p.m., and the only light came from the moon and her truck's headlights. At first, everything seemed fine, just the hum of the engine and a country song crackling on the radio. But a few miles in, the radio started to static. Sarah figured it was a bad signal, but as she reached to turn it off, a voice cut through, a woman, sobbing, saying, "Don't go, turn back, they're waiting." Sarah froze. She switched off the radio, her heart pounding. She told herself it was her imagination. The road was empty, no cars, no people. Minutes later, her truck's headlights began to flicker, like the power was cutting in and out. Sarah slowed down, but then the engine died. The truck rolled to a stop in the middle of the road. Silence took over, broken only by crickets and a strange smell like burnt metal. Sarah grabbed her phone to call her boss, but there was no signal. Even her phone's flashlight wouldn't work. All she had was the moonlight illuminating the road. Then in the distance, Sarah saw something. Two dark figures, human-like, standing by the roadside. They didn't move or speak, just stared at the truck. Sarah checked the door locks and tried to stay calm, but when she glanced at the side mirror, she nearly screamed. In the reflection, someone was sitting in the cab behind Sarah. Stop, turn back. But there was no one in the frame, just the sound of heavy footsteps, like something massive moving, and a deep, drawn-out breath. The search went on for days, but there was no trace of Sarah. No footprints, no signs in the woods, nothing. Even the police dogs couldn't pick up her scent, as if she'd never been in the forest. An old trucker who'd driven through Wilson for years heard the story and said, "Route 44 doesn't take people. It keeps them." Now, if you ask the locals about Route 44, they'll shake their heads and warn you, don't drive it after dark. They're still waiting. Every now and then, drivers swear they hear a woman's voice on their radio, begging, turn back.